Okay, enough of that. Welcome, everybody, to the Sales Copywriting Content Marketing Hacks podcast. I'm your host, Jim Owens, along with my trusty partner and podcast producer, Mr. Stu Smith. Welcome, Stu.
Jazz hands.
Whew, happy hands. So, today is episode 123 of the Sales Copywriting Content Marketing Hacks podcast. Oh my goodness. That's pretty amazing. In fact, my youngest grandson was like, "Grandpa, you have a podcast?" I said, "Yeah, Mr. Stu and I do a podcast together." "You and Mr. Stu do a podcast?" "Yes, we've done over 120 episodes." "You've done over 120 episodes?" I said, "What are you, like my hype man or something?" "Yeah, I got a podcast. A lot of people do." "Oh, okay, cool. Could I ever listen to it?" I said, "Sure, if you want to." And Eli wants to be a copywriter. He started reading Copywriting Secrets. I've been telling him which chapters to read, and he's getting it. So he wants to start selling online. He said, "I don't want a summer job." He's 11. He said, I don't want a summer job. I want to learn how to sell stuff like you do." So his goal is to make six figures before he graduates high school. That's his thing. So anyway.
Nice. Maybe you can help us figure out TikTok and Snapchat.
Well, I told him that we'd have him on the podcast once he's got an offer or he knows his niche and stuff, and he wants to run some stuff by us. I told him we'd get him on, so he's excited. And he is definitely a study in nature versus nurture, because I'm not biologically his grandpa, but we all hang out so much. It's like people even say we look alike.
No,
and stuff. So it's just fun. So what are we talking about today, Stu?
All right. Well, it's not every day you get to play around with some numbers like Podcast123. So you want to see what I did here?
Yeah.
So Podcast123 discusses the Jim Edwards method and how wizards and online software can help with sales copy, especially if you're a novice. And sales copywriting and content marketing is as easy as 1, 2, 3 with the Jim Edwards method.
Holy cow!
Do you like that?
I like
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And what is the 1, 2, 3 combo that you have to hit in any sales copy?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what the 1, 2, 3 combo is, but that's not what I want to talk about.
Okay.
So the 1, 2, 3 combo is basically hook, story, offer.
Yes.
That's the 1, 2, 3 combo. You got to have a great hook. You got to have a great story, and you got to have a great offer. But Stu, unbeknownst to you, been working on a couple things.
Okay.
And I believe I have one wizard that actually incorporates hook, story, and offer into a single sentence. Stu, I'm not playing. I'm not yanking your pickle.
This is absolutely serious. I am not prone to hyperbole, as you know.
So what I'm telling you is that there is a wizard inside of the Jim Edwards Method Premium that helps you to create what you do in one sentence. This is not an elevator speech, Stu. An elevator speech is a boring thing that you use when you have a captive audience that doesn't want to know about you and is actually being polite. And it's all about you. But what I do in one sentence is all about them. So it's got the hook, it's got the story, and depending on which version you use, it could actually have the offer. Jane asked a great question. We will answer that at the end. She asked what the difference was between Jim Edwards Wizards and funnel scripts. We will address that at the end. Stu, would you like to have a demo of what I do in one sentence hook wizard, even though it tells a story as well? Would you like to see that?
I would love a demo.
Okay. I would love
maybe a wizard walkthrough.
A wizard walkthrough. Yes, I know you like those. Okay, we're going to do that. So I'm going to share ye old screen. And here we go. So We are on the What I Do in One Sentence Hook Wizard, which is part of Easy Online Wizards, which is part of the Jim Edwards Method Premium. Now, Stu, this wizard has recently been avatarized. I invented that phrase. It has been avatarized, which means
love it.
that if you have created your avatar, it will do much of the heavy lifting for you. So we got some examples in here, and we have Stu's example of tactical athletes. So this is going to ask you, what's your name? Who's your target audience? What's your topic area of concentration? What's a big benefit? What do you sell? What's a big result they want? What's your unique identity? What's something hard they don't want to do? How fast can you get results? And who's your favorite public figure or movie star? Just for a little bit of secret sauce. Yours is Stu Smith, military, law enforcement, firefighter candidates, tactical fitness, get to and through intense tactical assessment and selection programs, sell books, ebooks, and online coaching. Target audience really wants to qualify for service in their chosen tactical profession, former Navy SEAL, hates the thought of failing to qualify for their chosen profession, get people results in as little as 2 weeks. It's going to be a hell of a 2 weeks, though, man. I can tell you, it's going to suck. Woo! But Stu will get you ready for a PT test in 2 weeks. He can do it.
We can do that.
You won't feel good, but you might pass. So we click build, and what this does is it gives you, before we do this, let me tell you why this is important. There are a lot of different places online where you need, just a lot of different circumstances where you need to be able to tell somebody what you do and do it in a way that they understand how it benefits them, and you don't have a lot of space. So if you look on like your Facebook pages and things like that, or other places where you basically get one sentence, you get a certain number of characters to be able to do this. If somebody asks you in passing at a conference or online, hey, what do you do? Honestly, they really don't give a shit. They're being polite. So you got to be able to tell them what you do in a way that makes them go, wait a minute, what do you do? Because it's not just you, oh yeah, well I do this and I'm blah, 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 blah. And you're like, oh yeah, another chucklehead. Great example. I'm at Funnel Hacking Live in Dallas. It was the first time I spoke at Funnel Hacking Live. I think this is like 5 years ago. And I had just spoken, and when you speak at an event, I mean, at the time it was the biggest event I'd ever spoken at. It was 1,500 people. And so I'm out in the hallway, and everyone's like, oh, hey, Jim. And then the next speaker speaks, and they're like, did you speak? I mean, they just, you get your 15 minutes of fame. Mm-hmm. So this guy walks up to me. He's got this buzz cut. I mean, he looks like a state trooper. And he comes up to me, and he's like, hey, you live in Virginia? And I was like, yeah, I live in Virginia. And he's like, I live in Virginia. And that's the one that I was like, oh, shoot. It's like, because I had somebody, anyway, different story. So he's like, yeah, I live in Hampton. And I'm like, oh, I live in Matthews. This is a little over and this and other stuff. And he said, hey, do you ever do any coaching or anything? I'm like, man, not really, because at the time, and I'm like trying to get away from the guy, but I'm being polite. Okay. So then I asked him, I said, what do you do? And he said, oh, I've got a class 3 FFL, and I have my own shop in Newport News where I manufacture and Cerakote weapons. I was like, huh? What? He unwittingly used my own thing against me, because he's like, oh yeah. And so what I do is he does all the fancy Cerakoting on weapons and stuff, and he buys and sells and can do automatic stuff. Nice. And I said, could you help me buy an automatic? Could you help me buy something full auto? He said, oh yeah, sure. So all of a sudden, because of that one sentence, we went from strangers that I was trying to get away from, that this dude has been to my house multiple times and hung out with me at Christmas. All right. He brought a Tavor. He's one of like 3 or 4 people in the US that have a fully automatic Tavor, the Israeli bullpup. And I got to fire it. at my house. Not
Mm.
at my house, at my range. If I fired at my house, the cops would have come because Terry would have called 911. But
Yeah.
an amazing experience. All because this guy unwittingly told me in one sentence what he did in a way that got my attention, and we became buddies. And he moved away, and I was like really sad. He lives like 5 hours away.
Mm.
So my point is that this is not an elevator speech. This is a way to communicate with people what you do in a way that hooks them, tells a little story, and may even make an offer to them that the whole purpose of it is to go, wait, what do you do? I want to know more about you. So all of a sudden, if you do it right, they're chasing you. They want to know more about you. They want to have you tell them what you can do and how you do what you just told them. That's why this is super important. So you can use it verbally, you can use it in email, you can use it in social media, you can use it on your website, you can use it anywhere. And you should be able to rattle it off when somebody tells you something. Okay, so like what I do in one sentence is I help entrepreneurs just like you go from blank screen to compelling compelling content and money-making sales messages at the whack of a button, no experience required. And so that's absolutely something that is, you've got to be able to communicate it and communicate it quickly.
You know where I use mine, Jim?
What's that?
In an author box. So on all my articles, there's a little box that says, "Who is Stu Smith?"
Right.
And it says, I'm the former Navy SEAL, that special operations candidates go to for books, ebooks, online coaching to prepare themselves to get to and through intense tactical assessment and selection programs and qualify for the service in their chosen tactical professions. See more at StuSmithFitness.com. It actually, what you pulled up today, that is it.
Right. So by just filling in all this stuff, not worrying about, okay, how am I going to say this all in one, like, how do I just have that pop out fully formed? You can't do it. But by focusing on your avatar and then literally by loading the avatar in, then there's only a couple, 3 things you got to put in that aren't already in your avatar, and then you can whack the button. And so this is Stu's. I help military, law enforcement, and firefighter candidates. Nah, I don't like to dominate. So I help military, law enforcement, and firefighter candidates just like you struggle with tactical fitness to get to and through intense tactical assessment and selection programs without failing to qualify for your chosen profession. So I would edit that a little bit. And I just actually this morning added a bunch of these that are specifically around that one. So like I help military, law enforcement, and firefighter candidates just like you get to and through intense tactical assessment and selection programs.
Boom.
I mean, that right there, or I help military, law enforcement, and firefighter candidates just like you get to and through intense tactical assessment and selection programs in as little as 2 weeks. I mean, that's a little bit, I would change that to 12 weeks.
Sure.
Because you've got your 12 weeks to Navy SEAL fit. But I help military, law enforcement, firefighter candidates just like you get to and through intense tactical assessment and selection programs in 12 weeks. So, that's pretty cool, right?
Oh, yeah.
So there's a whole, I mean, it goes through all the different ones, but where's the one? Anyway, there's a ton of them. It's a pretty cool thing. So that's pretty exciting.
In fact, I sent you an article and you said, "Hey, nice author box." And I said it was from a wizard. And this is the wizard.
Yeah, you did a great job. So anyway, that was pretty cool. Anyway.
So anyway, I thought we would do podcast 123 as the 1-2-3 combo: hook, story, offer. We have talked about this many, many times, but it's kind of like the PT pyramid. You know, you can't call a workout a classic unless you do it often.
Yeah.
Right. And you've been doing it often for decades. The hook story offer, no matter what technology changes, no matter where the new social media platforms are going, hook story offer will never change.
Yep. Absolutely. And the thing is, you actually can, it's kind of like the hook story offer thing is, it's deceptively simple, meaning you might say, okay, well, I understand that, but it's like the PT pyramid thing. You can use it so many different ways. Like, for example, this past Monday, Stu gave us a PT pyramid that was deceptively simple on the surface. It was basically just go from, it was, you know, 1 pull-up, 2 push-ups, and 3 abs of choice, all the way up to 10, 20, 30, and then back down from, you know, 9 to 1.
Yeah.
But in between each set, you had to run a quarter of a mile. Oh, well, that's
19 quarter miles.
Well, and if you're a smart ass like me, you're like, well, I want to make it an even 20. So I ran a quarter mile just at the beginning, so I would have it come out to 5 miles. And because that's 5 miles of running if you do 20 quarter miles.
Yeah.
So an hour into this thing, I'm like, holy crap. And that was
it's more of a running workout than a calisthenic workout.
But it was also a mental workout. You turned a physical workout into a holy crap, when's this ever going to be over? And so that was that's interesting that we're talking about a 1, 2, 3 pyramid on Podcast123. Interesting how it all comes together.
It's all related.
And then today we're doing a ladder, which is pull-ups and burpees. My favorite. Anyway, so even though it's like you've heard it before, you'll never quite master it because you can always get better. You can always add one more. It's like, oh, you're good at 1 to 10. Can you do 1 to 15? Oh, you can do 1 to 15. Can you do 1 to 20 now? Smart ass. And it's the same thing with hook story offer. How do you use hook story offer in an ad? How do you use it in an entire sales letter? How do you use an email? How do you use it to tell a story? There's all these different things where it could be, you know, it could be a sentence, you know, it could literally be 3 sentences, or it could be 3 pages. The whole hook story offer thing.
You want to hear a good title of an article I came up with yesterday?
Sure.
Wrote this article because I have the 17-year-old kid that's working out with us. And after his first workout with us, right? And this kid's like, 125 pounds. Right. His first workout with us, he goes, I'm going to go talk to the recruiter this week. I'm like, stop what you're doing. And I had to give him the whole spiel of like, you are nowhere near ready to do this job. And I pointed to a 22-year-old who's finished college, played D1 sports. And I said, he hasn't even talked to a recruiter yet. Right. So it goes back to that whole optimist, pessimist, realist article that I sent you a while back. But anyway, I said, so I talked about his whole process of going into a recruiter's office. And, here's what you don't want to do. So I basically tried to come up with a unique way of like getting the recruiter involved, but not pissing them off, because I deal with a lot of recruiters. So I was like, top things to not say to a recruiter. Instead, do this. And that little hook there was, really drove numbers up to that article, whether it was social media post or whether it was on just the website itself. But people are always concerned about going to talk to a recruiter. Some of them are so optimistic that they aren't concerned at all. And that's who I'm kind of trying to hit. because you'll get sold a bill of goods. You know?
Sure. Well, they'll promise you the world, and then you're scrubbing decks, in the bilge tank on a 80-year-old destroyer.
Yeah. And the problem is, a lot of people want to go into special ops, but then they don't physically qualify during their delayed entry process, but they still have to go join the military. Even if they didn't meet that standard to go to special ops, now they just have to go to the regular military, and then maybe later they can go special ops, but they're not doing it as a direct pathway.
Right.
So there's so many reasons why, you have to do this. So that's kind of like one of my big areas that I try to help people with, getting through that process. But anyway, it was just one of those hooks that really brought home, and I put a story in there, and I didn't even put an offer in there. It was just it's almost like a PSA, right? So if you really want a compelling PSA, it's more like hook story.
Prostate stent antigen? What? PSA?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Public service
announcement. I'm thinking, okay. Yeah. PSA has a different meaning when you're over 50.
Yeah.
Prostate specific antigen. That's what that stands for, I believe. Anyway. So the point, though, from all of this is to get really, 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 really good at hook story offer, whether it's what we just showed with the what I do in one sentence, which literally, if I were to choose the one with come on, I was looking for the one. Well, you did the one. Oh, okay. I help military, law enforcement, and firefighter candidates just like you get to and through intense tactical assessment and selection programs with my books, ebooks, and online coaching. That's hook story offer. Seriously. What's the hook? I help military, law enforcement, and firefighter candidates. Hey, I'm one of them. Or you could, if you were speaking directly to, see, that's a cool thing, is that this can also be melded. It can be adapted really easily. Like when you were doing that thing for the kids that wanted their, the summer camp thing for people that might want to come to the academy. I help military service academy candidates get to and through intense selection and academic process. I don't know what the hell it is, but with my books, ebooks, and online coaching, it's like the hook. One of the easiest ways to hook somebody is with their name. And you say, well, I don't know their name. You know who they are. You know what they want. Attention former Navy SEALs. Well, I'm not, but that's how we get your attention. Attention former military who want to start your own business. That's a hook. That's, so the hook is calling out to them by name, by identity, all that stuff. What's the story? Get to and through intense tactical assessment and selection programs. That's the story. That's literally, that's what this is about, right? Yeah. And then what's the offer? Books, ebooks, and online coaching. Literally, hook story offer is it's baked into this whole thing. And being able to do that can really make a huge difference for you. All the way, so that's one end of the spectrum, all the way up to the other end of the spectrum, where you've got, your hook is an entire headline package, and then your story is a complete epiphany bridge or hero's journey or origin story or whatever. And then the offer is some big old long stack of stuff. So that principle is kind of like, if you take it back to the fitness example, there's really only 5 things that you're going to do to get fit. Pulling motion, pushing motion, core, legs, and cardio. That's it. But Stu has been able to create an entire career around 5 basic things because he's got a great hook story and offer. Okay, that's all I got.
Cool. Same here.
I don't know if this was any good or not. I had to kick some chucklehead off of LinkedIn who was just harassing the crap out of us. So I was able to I felt good. I got a kick ban out of this one. So that was good. So there you go. Always makes me feel good. So hopefully you all enjoyed this. And that's all I got. So any final words, Stu? What should people do if they want to get in good shape? Eat less, move more. What?
That is helpful. Move a little more. No, just send me an email. I'll answer your questions, stu@stusmith.com, or you can go to stusmithfitness.com and check out other options.
There you go. And if you want to learn how to write amazing sales copy like my 11-year-old grandson is learning to do, head on over to copywritingsecrets.com. Get a free copy of my book. Just pay a small shipping and handling. And I'm Jim Edwards, and for Stu Smith, thanks for joining us on episode 123 of the Sales Copywriting Content Marketing Hacks podcast. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.